The Washington Wizards lose to the Detroit Pistons 124-104 in the nation's capital. Was this game lost on the perimeter or in the paint? That is the question of the night. We're going to talk about it next on Locked On Wizards.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's good, everybody? It's your boy, Brandon Scott again. Your favorite podcast now has a newsletter, introducing the Locked On Wizards Daily Newsletter, a one-stop shop for the ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free now at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com. And start your day with the all-new free Locked On Wizards newsletter. Tonight's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet. You'll get started with $150 and bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's visit FanDuel.com to get started. All right, tonight we got my guy Abdullah who's going to help me recap this game real quick. Washington Wizards lose 124-104, and Kay Cunningham drops a triple-double. And Harden, I mean, Ivy, man. I said Harden. Ivy, man. Ivy put in some work like in the nation's cap, man. So, all right, AB. How did the Wizards lose the game? Was it on the perimeter or was it in the paint?
I'm going to say it straight, B. It was both. Got destroyed both ways. Jay and Ivy just doing whatever he wants. Offensively, nothing's there. It was nice to see Kyle Kuzma got those 20 points, boost that trade value. But overall, just not a good day for the Wizards. And defensively, I mean, there's no D in DC apparently.
Oh man, look, this game. I mean, kind of answer the question for myself, man. It was lost on both fronts. I mean, total team defense was a problem tonight. I mean, we're gonna pop up the stats real quick. So, looking at the stat line real quick, man. Looking at the Detroit Pistons, Jaden Ivey, man, 28 points tonight, 8 assists. So he did his thing. Kay Cunningham, 21 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists. But notice I said 10 rebounds. Kay Cunningham did his thing. I mean, 10 rebounds, man. Look, we know he can play, but, when a guard gets those type of numbers in the paint, man, I think that's a clear indicator of what you need to improve on. I mean, Tobias Harris got 9 rebounds. Jalen Duren got 10 rebounds, and the list goes on. Isaiah Stewart, more on the second unit. They both got 6 and 5 rebounds, respectively. Looking at the Washington Wizards, man, Bob Carrington, his offense is starting to ramp up. He's still ramping up his, offense, and 11 points tonight on 25 minutes played, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, shooting 4 for 7 from the field, and 3 for 6 from 3, including 2 steals. So a lot of energy on both sides of the ball, but offensively, I think he will get better, man. He's a dog. Just give him some time. And again, there's only one ball, right? JP 13 tonight, 26 minutes played, 22 points. He was an efficient 8 for 16 for the field and 3 for 5 from 3, including 3 from 3 from the charity strike, 5 assists. So definitely love the assist numbers from JP 13. Bilal Koulibaly, 15 points tonight. Definitely a better showing offensively from him. 4 rebounds, 6 for 9 for the field, 1 for 2 from 3, and 3 steals. So he was his usual be cool self, active on the defensive end. Kyle Kuzma, look, very good performance from him. I mean, very efficient night, 22 points, 6 rebounds, 10 for 14 for the field, 1 for 2 from 3. So he listened to somebody. I don't know if he listened to Locked On Wizards or he listened to the coaching staff or listened, but he listened to somebody, man, because very efficient. And this was a good performance from Kyle Kuzma. I had nothing to critique him on, man. I mean, 4 turnovers, but, it is what it is. Alex Harden, not his best showing. 4 points tonight, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 for 7 in the field, 1 for 3 from 3. And then real quick, looking at the second unit, I mean, Jonas Valanciunas, 13 points, 10 rebounds from 4 from 11 from the field. And Corey Kispert, very underwhelming game, 8 points, shooting 3 for 6 from the field. So, I mean, get back into it. I'm with you on that, man. It was a combination. I mean, Jaden Ivey cooked us on the perimeter. Kay Cunningham did whatever he wanted to do. I mean, Malik Beasley did his thing. So the perimeter defense was non-existent. Then you look at the paint. I mean, when you give up 10 points to a guard, I mean, that's a clear indicator that we got to get better at boxing out. And this has been a problem that's been in DC for straight, dating back a couple of years. I mean, this was a comment, and this was a question I asked Kuz himself last season. I said, how can you get better in the paint, man? He said, simple, box out. I mean, it's simple. I mean, that's the fundamentals of basketball. Box out. So, I mean, I guess here's another question for you, AB. Was it a talent gap? It was a simple case of a talent gap, or what ways could the Wizards kind of made this a more winnable game?
Again, the boxing out, like it's PTSD when you hear when you play basketball growing up. And with Jalen Duren, and again, you said Kay Cunningham 10 rebounds as a guard. I mean, that's just it just really throws you off. So you could make the talent that the Pistons have. You can make the argument that the Pistons have more talent. But at the end of the day, it's about who wants it more, as my high school coach said, and clearly the Pistons wanted it more tonight.
Look, your high school coach ain't lying. And I didn't even cover Malcolm Brogdon. First game of the regular season for Malcolm Brogdon. Obviously not his best performance, but I'm not gonna get on him at all, man. I mean, he's just come back from an injury, his first time out, so he's definitely gonna be very, very rusty. So I think he definitely will ramp it up as he gets more playing time. But I'm with you. And I think this Detroit Pistons team is a team that you find potential with them, with the young squad. I mean, that backcourt of Cade Cunningham and Jay, man, is a electrifying backcourt. And when you add Malik Beasley and Tobias Harris, that veteran presence, and Jalen Duren, man, who was a guy that I wanted us to target in the draft. He's a beast in the paint. You can easily attribute it to a talent gap, but I think in ways that we could have really made this a more winnable game is you got, on the perimeter, we have got to be dogs, man. I mean, we've got to close out the shooters. We've got, when it comes to, mismatches, man, we've got to roll off. I mean, it's just, we didn't really show a lot of energy on the defensive end, especially in the paint. I mean, perimeter wise, if you look at the numbers, we were kind of neck to neck with the Pistons as far as shooting numbers. And then, like I said, this loss is not on Kyle Kuzma. I mean, he shot 14 attempts, so he is very efficient. So not on him at all. The young guys it wasn't their best night overall. But JP13 and Kyle Kuzma, that 1-2 punch that we expected them to be, they were that. But this game in the paint and the perimeter, we've got to get better defensively. That's the one thing we expected in DC is we wanted this team to now and in the future build a defensive identity. And you saw that, the second half of last season and early on this season, you saw that. But, this game just – you saw energy. I don't know if it had to do with them coming off a road trip and the first home game, but there was a total energy on the defensive end, man. And so, like I said, I'm with you. I think it wasn't just a talent gap. I think that they didn't do themselves any favors by, being lethargic, especially on the perimeter, because Jaden Ivey, man, I mean, say the time we got him again, he cooked us tonight. Cade Cunningham cooked us. Jalen Duren, man, really exposed us, and to a lesser degree, really exposed Alex Sarr. So, I mean, I'm going to ask you real quick before we roll. I mean, look at Alex Sarr. Obviously you see the potential, especially with his ability to stretch the floor. But, I mean, we know that right now he's not able to be a five and really battle against most of the fives in the league, even though that's where they've been starting him. Do you envision him, eventually being that guy, or you think probably in DC or for the rest of his career he's going to be a stretch four?
As of right now, I say you test him both ways. But if it's clearly consistent night in and night out that he's more dominant at the 4 and he's getting bullied by the 5, you got to put him at the 4 because, again, it's no point in putting him somewhere where it's not his greatest strength.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you on that, man. He doesn't have the body yet to really bang it in the paint with the bigger bigs in the league, man. I mean, Jalen Duren, another big who really exposed Alex Sarr. And like I said, I think Alex Sarr has star potential. I think he's going to be a beast in this league. I think he's going to be good, but kind of like Bilal, very raw. You definitely – it's definitely a developmental piece. And I think when it's all said and done, he's going to be a very highly productive player in DC. But, looking at, at the center position, he's not ready yet. And it's okay. Look, we're in a rebuild. It's going to take time, but he definitely needs to add some muscle. And there's times where he is clearly just very dependent on that jump shot. I get it. When you have the shot, you take it. And he's done a great job kind of bringing the ball inside a little bit, but he's got to learn to play with his back to the basket. I definitely want to. If all people on the court, he should be the guy who should be that first guy going there and get the rebounds. And Chris Miller kind of made it known tonight, him and Drew Gooden, where, there's a couple moments where he just looked lost as far as just boxing out, getting his body in the best positions to get rebounds and defend. He just looked lost at times. And I think that he's too reliant on being a stretch. You're 7-1. You've got to be more of a presence in the paint. You are 7-1. I mean, you've got to be more proactive in the paint. I get it. It's a blessing to have that capability to shoot from 3, but you're not a small forward. You're not a 2 guard. You've got to learn to bring your game back in. Like I said, a lot of his 3-point shots are unopposed. So you take that shot. If it's a wide open shot, you take it. But he's too reliant on that jump shot. And I definitely want to see him attack the basket. Use that 7-1 frame. I mean, 7-1. Use that frame to attack. So I'm with you there, man. So, all right, guys, we're going to get into comments because, like I said, it's going to be kind of a short episode tonight. It's Sunday, getting ready for the rest of the week, man. The beginning of the week and tomorrow, man. So definitely getting our minds and bodies ready for that. So we're going to get into comments. But before we do, tonight's episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. So you guys know me, man. I'm a big catalyst for, look, if you got things going on, man, definitely ask for help. Definitely, there's always somebody to talk to, man. And with BetterHelp, they give you the best opportunity to really formulate a relationship with a counselor if you're in the time to talk to somebody. Look, if you're thinking about starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. That is key. Let the gratitude flow, y'all, with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnNBA. All right, let's get back into the saying. So let's get into comments. And the first one tonight, long and behold, is Lockton Law. Says same crap, different day. I mean, you might as well put your seatbelt on, man. It's going to be a long ride. I mean, we are now at the record of 2-10. So, I mean, that'll tell you what kind of journey we got this season. You're going to find out. So, I'm with you, man. But like I said, my biggest thing is just you want to see improvements from the young guys. And, you know, I've covered the last couple of episodes. You guys know me about Kyle Kuzma. He had a better night tonight. But I think ultimately the writing's still on the wall. But this is definitely an encouraging sign from Kyle Kuzma. You know, if he brings that attempts that you see this team, look, Bilal Coulibaly was a better player tonight. And I think that had a lot to do with the usage rate for a lot of players. You know, Kyle Kuzma brought his shot attempts down from 28 to 14. And I think that gave Bilal Coulibaly those opportunities to get the ball in his hands to attack the basket. So I think, it tells you, right? The proof is in the pudding. When he brings those shot attempts down, this team, they can definitely spread the wealth. Fine ball, ball movement is more fluid, man. And you saw it. Kyle Kuzma, there's times where he bounced the ball back out. So I'm not even mad tonight. What do you think, Abdullah? I mean, is this a clear indicator?
Yeah, definitely. Clearly, the last couple of games with Kuzma back from injury, Bilal, took a little drop in offensive production. But even today, with those shots, Bilal 15 points is what I want to see, and I can't wait till when Kuz gets traded till we see Bilal's usage go up. I know people are saying he's off and on, but I'm telling you, when he's on. It's going to be a mean two-way play. I've already seen comparisons to the Spurs, Kawhi Leonard. Obviously, don't want to get too happy, but his ability to, offensively be a juggernaut, defensively be a menace. I mean, the sky's the limit for him. And just wait till Kuz is gone, and you're going to see his usage go way up.
I agree 100%. And one thing I don't like, man, I hate the comparisons. I mean, just let Bilal be Bilal. I mean, the first thing that people do is compare players, and I mean, let Bilal be Bilal. I mean, I hope he's not Kawhi Leonard. I mean, we all know Kawhi Leonard can play, but he's made out of paper mache, and that's not what I want for Bilal, man. I mean, we need a guy who's going to be on the court because availability is your best ability. But you see, Locked On Wiz Kid said it's like that magical Roger Smith crap, though. It has small jewels in it, above 50% from three. Be cool 6'9", and somebody talked to Kuz after the first quarter. Not many attempts since then. I agree. He brought the attempts down, and this was a more productive starting five. I think that Bob Carrington will get there offensively because he's too talented, man. I'm telling you right now, you're going to see better performances, especially in the second half of the season when they move a lot of these pieces, man. Let's see. Lockton Law says the next time anyone on this team plays defense will be the first time. I mean, I had hoped that this was going to be a better defensive team and a better rebounding team at the beginning of the season because Jonas Valanciunas is supposed to be that one move that makes us a better rebounding team. And with the defensive philosophy of Brian Keefe and with players like Bilal Coulibaly, Alex R, who are defensive-minded guys who just need to add the offense, I feel like there's going to be a better offensive team, or defensive team. But maybe that's a question for you real quick, AB. I mean, is it a simple case of not having the right pieces, or what is it?
Honestly, I thought there were going to be an improvement. You bring in Jonas Valanciunas, but he is only one guy. At the end of the day, the ball is up there. Five guys got to crash it, or else one team's going to dominate over the other. And I do think it's a big part of just the guys that we have. I mean, hopefully, at least the young guys will realize that you just can't win games just from your big boxing out, and everyone's got to crash. And clearly, the Pistons tonight, they proved it again that they just wanted it more. So I'm hopefully seeing that improvement because last year the Wizards, I mean, it was all the way to the bottom, and you can't go more in the bottom because there's only 30 teams in the NBA. So I'm hoping there will be improvement, but until then, it's going to be very repetitive every night.
I agree with you. I think this is, long term, and even in the immediate, man, you want this to be a better defensive team. And I think that we have some of the pieces to implement that. Bilal Coulibaly, Alex Sarr, Bob Carrington doesn't get enough credit for his prowess in the defensive end. Keyshawn George, a guy who's shown they can be highly productive on the defensive end. And Jordan Poole has improved. And you do see a lot more energy from Corey Kispert. So I think they're heading in the right direction. I think you're going to see more of a defensive identity in the second half once you move on from a lot of these players, man, in my humble opinion. Let's see, Lockton Law says 3 huge dudes on the floor at the same time, and none of them can rebound. Yeah, to me, it's very surprising. You see the rim protector in Alex R, but you always want more. You know what I mean? Like, you see the moments where it's like, all right, he's that dude. And there's times where, he can look lost offense rebounding, man. I mean, just simply boxing out. And that's one thing. I think they featured him in Australia primarily on the perimeter, man, because he's just lost as far as having his back to the basket, having, counter moves, having post moves. He's just lost at 7-1. And that's very surprising because at 7-1, you would think that the coaches in Australia would have taught him how to play with his back to the basket. I mean, I don't know if his expectations were to be a 7'1" small forward. I mean, but he's got to learn. He's got to get better in the paint because he's 7'1". He's the center of the future for this team, and he's got to dominate the paint. That is the job of the center, man. You got to dominate. Like I said, I'm not ready to press that panic, but I think he's going to be all right. Add some muscle, definitely a few more trips to Barry Farms. I think he's going to be just fine. But let's see. My guy Link, what's going on? Says these lineups with the vets stop any rhythm that the young guys in Poole build. I agree with that. Nothing against them. They got to play while they are here, but it sucks to watch. Hopefully we can trade someone soon. I think that we will be one of the first teams in the trade market making a move. Because I think there's going to be a lot of moves made this year, man. Will Dawkins said himself, they're going to get younger. They're going to get younger after the deadline, man. So you're going to start to see people. But somebody brought up a really good point, man. Like I said, right now, I look at Jordan Poole as a guy who, at least for the next 2 to 3 years, give him the keys. But his trade value has gone up immensely, man. So I'm going to ask you, man, could there be a scenario where you see Jordan Poole being moved before Kyle Kuzma?
Man, that game against the Spurs, we had 40. I mean, at the end of the fourth quarter, it was just 1-on-5. Jordan Poole's ability to go to the basket, very flashy. And again, a mass improvement last year in that first half. I don't know, man. I'm a big fan of JP. I've always been a big fan of him. But if that value is there, I don't say do it, but at least look at it. And I think the priority right now should be trading bets like Kuzma, Valanciunas, and Brogdon. I'd say hold on for JP right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you what, man. And I said it time and time again, it's the flip side of the coin. You can't see him being that future, being that future piece, man. You can also look at it as everybody's tradable. And to me, I'm not in a hurry to move him. I think if you move him, you give him a sample size of more than one season. Especially for the price tag. If you look at prospective teams, they want to see kind of a longer, as far as I'd like to see them kind of give him a couple of years, man. In my opinion, and definitely see what Sadiq Bey can do when he gets back. Corey Kispert, but we all know what it is. Everybody's tradable outside of young core, and you could see a scenario where not only Kyle Kuzma, not only Jonas Valanciunas, not only Malcolm Brogdon, but you could see Corey Kispert. You could see Jordan Poole move to some point, man. Like I said, Jordan Poole, he put the work in. He's playing out his world, man. He's playing at all-star level, in my opinion. And he's put the work in. And it's all you could ask for from a young player who has prospects and wanting to be in the face of franchise. And that's what I say, at least for the next 2 to 3 years, give him the keys. Give him the keys and see where it's headed. And then, we can judge off that. But then on the flip side, again, everything's flip side, man. For every pro, there's a con. For every yin, there's a yang, right? This draft coming up in 2025, if you don't hit on Cooper Flag, is stocked with nothing but 2 guards, man, and forwards. I'm saying right now. I mean, Dylan Harper would look really good in the backcourt with Bob Carrington, but then I like the backcourt of Bob Carrington and Jordan Poole. So a lot of hard decisions. Don't envy Will Dawkins, man, because he's got a lot of hard decisions. But if Denny Avdia in that trade gives you any indication, anybody can move at any point, and they've made it known. They put people on notice that everybody's movable outside of the young core. So Link says that was also a terrible sub out. While Poole had it going in the third, I agree. Then waited a few minutes in the fourth or something back in. We don't look serious. I can't even finish watching these games. It is hard at times. I mean, I'm not even gonna lie to you. It is hard at times, but I agree 100%. Lockton Law says it's going to be a long season. Yeah. Let's see. Lockton Law also says we knew it was going to be a long season, but I expected to see more discipline. Why is Keith there? I definitely give Keith some time, man. I think that he's going to pay dividends. I think he's definitely, for right now, is definitely the right coach for the job. Because I compare him a lot to Brett Brown, development head coach for the 76ers. I see the same thing with Brian Keefe, a guy who, his big MO is development. Let's see. Lockton Law, very active tonight, says, why the heck is so difficult about defense rebounding is just effort. I agree. You know, you got to have one of those factors, especially battling the paint. It comes down to effort. It comes down to heart. And, you know, while I do think that Alex Sarr is going to be an immaculate player in the NBA, he's got to get more nasty in the paint, man. He's got to get more active in the paint. Let's see. Blimey 01 Manor says JP 8 for 16 for the field, 3 for 5 from 3, 3 from 3 from the line, 5 assists, but a negative 33. Yeah, I don't quite understand that one either, because I believe he was efficient. And I don't know. Do you know? I'm an old head, man. I mean, I was around in the NBA when we didn't have all this crazy plus minus stuff. I mean, you're a younger guy, man. So kind of school us on the plus minus, man. Is it a team thing?
I think I'm gonna be honest, I don't pay attention to that much. It's not a point that things are like, oh, like I'm gonna point it out if it's very bad. If it's good, I might plug it in there. But I just don't think it's that much, because plus minuses can only go so far. When you really watch the game, you really see the little things that they do. And I just don't think plus minus factors that in. But even if that negative 33, JP doesn't disregard the fact that game against San Antonio, games before that, he's been hooping. You know, just letting one plus minus like throw you off. I just don't think it's the best thing to do.
Like I said, I'm an old head, man. I'm about to hit the Boro. I could care less about plus minus unless it's really, really good, right? So I ain't paying attention to that. So we're going to get into the rest of the comments, guys. But before we do, tonight's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live, play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join the day. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets. Good Lord. If you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the National Football League. All right, let's get back into this thing. All right, finish this thing out. Again, we got 41 people in the chat. Definitely appreciate everybody taking time out of their Sunday night, man, because I know everybody's ramping up for the next week ahead. All right, so let's see. Backs attack. I'm hoping that's what it says, man. My bad if I butchered it. It says, I only had 3 rules for rebuild. Beat the bum Pistons, beat the Hornets, and beat the Blazers. Sigh. Yeah, the Pistons always play us hard, man. They always play us hard. They always humble us, man. They expect the last season when Kyle Kuzma said, "Don't be that team," and then we were that team. You know what I mean? So, I mean, looking at the Hornets, that's another team you definitely want to beat. A younger team, or a youngish team. I guess a little older than we are with LaMelo. I believe he just got fined too. I think he just caught a $15,000 fine. But the Blazers, oh, you best believe, man, when the Blazers come in town, it's going to be a matchup to watch, man. But let's see. The Son of God says sample size from Malcolm. Don't ever want to see that again. I think it's going to get better. I think it's going to get better. I mean, you see the potential. I mean, I'm not going to say potential because he's an old head, but he can play. He needs to ramp up, man. First time out, I ain't ready to panic on Malcolm Brogdon. Plus, it behooves us to get him going, man, because he's got a price tag of $22.5. So, look, you definitely want to get that trade value up. Son of God also says, keep it up, Kuz. Get that trade value up for us. I think we all kind of feel the same way. T Genius says, is Whitmore trade still possible? I don't see Houston giving them up, even though I would love to have Kent Whitmore on the team. I think the Houston Rockets would be very, very hesitant to move him, because while they do have depth and while he's out of the rotation, I don't think he's going to be out of the rotation for long. I mean, I don't see that being a realistic option, even though, you know, he's in the G League and other factors, you know, homegrown guy, but I think Houston is going to say no to most trade proposals unless we offer some picks, and that would be counterproductive in what we got going on. So, Nomadic Brian says, "Oh my, not good." The Pistons, yeah, don't be that team, right? Do not be that team. See, the Son of God says, "Bub be moving the rock around, and that's cool, but he needs to be more aggressive." I agree. Definitely want to see him attack more. I'll attack a lot more. Shook Biz one, how you doing tonight? Says B Scott with the paper mache comments. Hashtag shots fired. Nah, man, it's all love with Kawhi, man. But we all know the biggest thing with him is he cannot stay on the court, man. I mean, he's forever hurt, man. So, I mean, to me, he's built out of paper mache. He's going to be forever one of those guys where what could he be if he could have stayed healthy?
I agree.
You know what I mean? No,
the best ability in sports is availability. I know it's a cliche, but it is the best thing. Availability is what truly matters. At the end of the day, you're going to be known, and you can't really be known if you weren't on the court or on the field.
No, I agree 100%. I mean, that's the biggest thing with not only him, but with Paul George. While that was just another Clippers era that just didn't pan out because they were hurt all the time. I mean, a healthy Kawhi Leonard, you probably top 10. I'm not gonna say all time, but in the modern era, absolutely top 10 player because he's just that beast on the defense, man, and offensively a lot more polished than he was when he first came into the league. Shook Biz One says, "Give me Cam Whitmore." Man, I'm with you. I would love Cam Whitmore on his team, but I don't see them making that move, man. See, he also said made Kispert, JD, Kuz, and 7-day bus pass. I think that, yeah, I'm with you because Johnny Davis is another guy where I think he'd be added to a trade in the future. Z8_ says Keith's rotations reminded me of Scott Brooks tonight. Made no sense. Oh man, Scott Brooks, Lord have mercy. Yeah, I mean, I'll say this, and I always give criticism where it's due and praise where it's due. I'm a big Brian Keith guy, but it's tough, and we saw it with Weston Steele Jr. Even though Weston Steele Jr. proved to be a really good assistant coach, just not a good head coach. But it's hard to be a head coach of a team where you have to balance minutes between vets and young guys. You got to showcase these vets because you want to get assets for them. But then you got to find ways to get these young guys going, man. So that's hard, man. And I'm not making an excuse for him, but I think that, I think you're going to see a lot more of his game plan, especially in the second half of the season, because it's tough, especially with Malcolm Brogdon. That's a decision where everybody was thinking, where do you put Malcolm Brogdon? Where it doesn't conflict minutes with the second unit, so.
And Sadiq Bey's to come too.
Yeah, I mean, Sadiq Bey, I think realistically we're going to see him in the last quarter of the season. I don't think you rush him. I would play him next year. I wouldn't bring him back. Let him get 100% healthy. Give him a full off season to really check that box. And I think he will be, because Sadiq Bey's a dog. I mean, he's a dog. Merlin product, man, so he's a dog. Let's see. Luke Feldman, how you doing? Biggest takeaway so far? Whatever's the under is on the Wiz, take the under. I mean, look, facts. It is what it is, man. The definite facts. John Hickam says, I'm glad we lost. Oh, let's follow up the losses so we can get the best percentage to get the number one pick in the draft. I like Kuz. He can score, but he's not right for his team. Trade. I agree 100%. I think it's time to trade Kuz, man. And look, if you have a chance to get Cooper Flag, you take that chance, man, because you add Cooper Flag to Bilal and these young guys, man, that is a team hitting in the right direction.
It's so funny to be also on X. Like so many fans are like, oh man, Kuzma's going off. I hope a contender doesn't trade for him just for the purpose of, getting that trade value up, just to mess around, because we want to see Kuz do good just for the sake of the value, not because he's a future Wizard.
Yeah, I mean, look, I never want anybody to fail. Once you got Washington on the front of your chest, I want you to succeed. And that's still, being a basketball fan, you got players around the league that you like, man. But the writing's on the wall. He fit at one time. He doesn't anymore. To me, you have to give the keys to Jordan Poole and Bilal Coulibaly, and you got to let these young guys cook. I think it's that time. Definitely thank you for your service, what you've done on the court and off the court, but it's time. Every good thing comes to an end. Like, the writing's on the wall, in my opinion. So I'm with you on that. Z8_ says Brett Brown comparison spot on. You think Keith survives the rebuild unlike Brown? That's a very good question. And you can argue that once the Wizards get to a certain point, do they go out there and get that marquee coach? Could be. But I think they're going to give him every chance to prove he could be the long-term head coach here in D.C. He's going to have the opportunity to show he can be. But that's a good question. And right now, I don't know if I can answer that because you can argue, it's only he hasn't even gone through a full year being a head coach. So, he's still got to kind of, and I'm not going to say develop, but he still has to grow as a coach too. Because even though he's been a reputable assistant coach around the league, is different than being the guy running a staff. So I can definitely answer that question probably after this year and probably going into next year. After a couple of years, I can definitely answer that question. Right now, it's hard to answer that. Shook Biz One says Lockton had the time tonight. Get it out, Law. Yeah, Lockton Law has no problem saying what he has to say, man. But hey, that's where we love you, man. So it's all good. John Hickens said, let's pile up these losses so we get the best. Oh, I think we already read that one before. James Kettner, how you doing? Says, hey, B. Scott, thanks for sticking around another season. Appreciate the energy, especially because you're talking about Les Boulez. I mean, look, man, I got a lot of love for y'all, man. I'm having the time of my life. I get it. We're bad, but I always enjoy doing this, man. So like I said, it's all love. Appreciate you. Rome Catalico says Ravens came up short. I can't say too much. My Commanders lost on Thursday night. So, I mean, that was to the Steelers, too. I know my dad is happy tonight. Lord have mercy. John Hickens said Alex Sarr and Cooper Flag could be a dream front court tandem for the future. Oh, absolutely. I ain't mad at that. You add Cooper Flag and Alex Sarr, we are definitely cooking with fish grease, man. Let's see. Shook Biz One says, question: which player do you feel is a could have been had injuries not stopped them? I'm gonna let you answer that first, man.
That I know he's already like up there Hall of Fame. I think Kawhi. I mean, the amount of games this man's misses, it is insane. Also, I mean, with John. I mean, obviously it's easy to say as a Wizards fan. I mean, the whole like slipping in the shower, falling in the shower, whatever that was, that sucked. Seeing that as a Wizards fan, especially since we saw the peak of his prime. Also, I know like Brandon Roy was a big guy that I've heard a lot of my older friends say that he could have been something.
Yeah,
but I don't know. It's a really big toss up. But for me, it's always been Kawhi because he's just been so dominant. And it's so funny because my friends and I always go back and forth saying that the Clippers are the more relevant team in LA, and the Lakers literally want a chip compared to the Clippers. And I just a big part of that is Kawhi just not being able to play. And again, like it always goes back to your best ability is availability. And clearly Kawhi Leonard just didn't play up to par to that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad you got some old heads, man, around you, man, because Brandon Roy was a guy where at Portland, if he would have stayed healthy, he had bad knees, man, he definitely could have. I'm gonna throw kind of something out of left field. Greg Oden. Could you imagine if he stayed healthy? He would have been a force in the paint in Portland. I'm gonna say Greg Oden. I mean, there's obviously Kawhi, Paul George. Those are definitely guys you easily think of. Shook Biz has a couple of good examples. Penny Hardaway and T-Mac, absolutely. I agree with that. T-Mac, man, was unreal. And Penny Hardaway, I mean, those are two good examples right there. John Hickens, another good one, man. Gilbert Arenas, absolutely. I know that the biggest knock with him is getting that contract after he got hurt. And then he says he got paid for what he did and not for what he's going to do, because he was never the same player after that. And, you could argue his contract really was a handcuff to this team for a minute, man. But, could you imagine if he would stayed healthy? I mean, I'm going to go even further with it. Can you imagine? And even if Gilbert Arenas played at a level that we knew he could play, we probably don't get that first overall pick with John Wall. But could you imagine a backcourt with Gilbert Arenas in his prime and John Wall? I mean, come on, man. But the question is, AB, where would you play John Wall? Would you have him running point and have Gilbert Arenas at the 2 guard?
Yeah, I think so. It just makes more sense, especially since John would have been a rookie at the time.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. You put Gilbert Arenas at the 2 guard, man. Good Lord. Shook Biz One says, Steve franchise. Man, University of Maryland guy, man. I mean, you know your age, man, when you remember watching him, Steve Blake. What was it, Chris Wilcox? That was a team when I was growing up, man. That was a good squad when I was young.
Let me ask you this, B. I don't know if this counts, but I heard Shaq, if he had that work ethic, could have arguably got into that top 3, top 5 conversation of all time. I don't know. What's your take on that?
Absolutely. Because to me, here's the thing about top 10, the GOAT conversation. You're always going to be biased towards the generation that you're part of, right? A lot of people now are saying LeBron because a lot of people don't remember, watching Jordan or watching, or they were, very young watching Kobe. And so to me, when you look at the best 3, if I put them, if I'm looking at the 4 best, I think you put Shaq in it. I mean, to me, it's MJ, Kobe, LeBron, and Shaq because he was dominant. But absolutely. If he had that work ethic, because, once he got to Miami, he started gaining those pounds. And once he got to Phoenix, man, and I don't know if it was the food in Miami or what's going on, man, but once he got to Phoenix, man, he really bogged down that fast system, that 7-second system that Mike D'Antoni had, man, with Steve Nash running point, man. So, yeah, once he got to Phoenix, man, he was a lot heavier. He wouldn't, because people forget Shaq in Orlando. I mean, people remember that run he did with Kobe, but Shaq in Orlando, he was more agile. He's more athletic. He was that was the best Shaq, in my opinion. If you really look at pound for pound athleticism, the Orlando Magic Shaq was the best one, better than the LA Lakers one by far. Let's see. The Son of God says, if we can get more picks, would y'all try to reunite Flag with Derek Queen if possible? I mean, I'm up for anything, man, as long as young talent. I mean, I'm up for anything. John Hickens brings another name, Grant Hill. Formerly out of Western Virginia, man. So Grant Hill's definitely a local guy, man. Another guy I grew up watching. And I don't know if you remember, AB. I know you're young, but there was a time where Tim Duncan, T-Mac, and Grant Hill were almost a big 3 in Orlando. Man, oh man, how good can that team been?
No, I know he's a South Lakes legend and a Nova product, but I've always heard Grant Hill's name when it comes and we came to that potential big three. That definitely would have been like a big what if in NBA history.
Yeah, absolutely. Grant Hill was, like I said, local guy, man, but he was good, just never panned out because of injury after injury, man. All right, so guys, we're gonna try to do a few more and call it a night. Some Shug said Kwame Brown mental injury. I'm gonna say this, man. I said it before. Kwame Brown, if he didn't play with MJ, would have been a better player. Now, obviously, he wasn't deserving of being number one overall. Very highly developmental player. But if you took the time to develop Kwame Brown, to me, he's a 2010 guy. Rookie year, he's playing with Michael Jordan. And we know what kind of expectations Michael Jordan has. He wanted this to be a playoff team. And I mean, that just wouldn't happen with the supporting cast, man. So Kwame never had the time to develop. If you put him in an environment where he developed, I think that Kwame Brown could have been a really good player in this league. All-star, I don't know. Definitely an above average, very productive starter, in my opinion. So see, we knock out a couple more. Yao Ming, John Hickinson, Yao Ming, absolutely. So that's the thing, man. Once you hit 7 foot, man, they always have a lot of injuries, a lot of injury problems, man, because of that size. Let's see. I'm gonna do one more, guys. Oh, the ultimate. This is gonna be the last comment for the night from John Hickens. Amari Stoudemire. Oh man, I guess I'll ask AB on the way out, man. A healthy Amari Stoudemire, is that a better team in New York with Melo?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, Melo can only do so much in New York. Healthy Amari Stoudemire. I mean, I don't know if they're beating LeBron in the East, but it definitely would have made some noise and been a bigger threat. Oh, sorry, B. I know I'm surprised that this name didn't pass by, but Derrick Rose, I keep forgetting to mention him. I mean, he was oh my god, youngest to win MVP. Even though LeBron should have won that year, B. I don't want to sound biased because of voter fatigue, but D Rose, I mean, that ankle injury, it sucked, and I really thought he was the home guy in Chicago. You know, he was what John Wall was, because after MJ, I really didn't think there was a guy or like a cornerstone guy for Chicago, and D Rose was that guy. And that injury just, you always look back on it and say, wow.
Yeah, he was John Wall with a jumper. I mean, explosive finisher, man. I mean, he was dunking on cats, 7-footers, man. Electric player. I mean, once he had that injury, that was it. He was never that explosive player ever again. And then real quick, I always say the last comment, but I love talking to people. The Son of God says Danny Green. Oh man, he was actually in Indiana right when Paul George got to the Pacers, man. And that was always that what if with him, both of those guys in the same forward positions, man. That they could have been good together, in my opinion. So we're gonna go ahead and call it a night, guys. Again, appreciate you guys. Now we will be going live tomorrow night, because tomorrow night the Wizards will be playing in New York City at the Mecca Madison Square Garden. So definitely tune in, guys, because we're definitely going to go live after that game. So again, appreciate you guys taking time out of your Sunday to rock with us, man. So again, we'll see you guys tomorrow night. Everybody enjoy your night. Hail to the Wizards and peace.